What's up? This is the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Hoppe.
And I'm Ryan SuperRICH.
Call the show, 630-403-5200. That's 630-403-5200. And Ryan, where can you be found on the Twitter machine?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ryan SuperRICH, STUPRICH. How about you, Hoppe?
I'm at Hoppe Radio 893. All right, enough of the shenanigans. On the phone line, he is a freelance writer and also can be heard on Rivet News Radio. Gabe Salgado is on the line. What's up, Gabe?
I got to admit, I like the opening theme music. Kind of gets your adrenaline going there.
It gets you all pumped up to talk about the NFL draft. So, what was your take on the draft last night?
Well, there were some picks that surprised me, like, Buffalo trading up to get Sammy Watkins. I know Cleveland had some pressing needs that they needed to address, but, Buffalo, gets another, offensive weapon that they could use to help out E.J. Manuel and complement C.J. Spiller there. Blake Bortles didn't surprise me that he was the first quarterback taken. He was very high on a lot of people's draft boards. I was disappointed that the Bears weren't able to land Aaron Donald. Kyle Fuller isn't a bad pick. That was actually a solid pick for them, although I think they could have gone, with the safety picks with Calvin Pryor and Clinton Dix either way. But, so far, there were some surprises, but for the most part, I think everybody addressed, their needs that they needed to fill on their teams.
How did you like the pick of Sammy Watkins, and how do you think Sammy Watkins and E.J. Manuel can be for the upcoming season?
Well, the main thing is for E.J. Manuel to stay healthy. He had some injuries his rookie year. I know the offensive line didn't always give him the best protection. So if he can stay healthy and if the line could keep him upright, Sammy Watkins will be a valuable weapon, especially with both him and C.J. Spiller in the passing game. Definitely can help him out tremendously. But Buffalo also has some needs on the defensive side of the ball as well. So, they got to address that as well.
What is your take on Blake Bortles? Because people are trying to compare him to Big Ben. Could he be that same type of player for Jacksonville, a team and sort of a fan base that has been looking for something to go right for them?
Well, if he can improve his arm strength and, he could become a little more stable in the pocket, definitely. He has a tendency to move around a little bit. There have been questions about his arm strength, but there's no question he's got the size comparable to Big Ben. He's got the accuracy. And let's not forget, he didn't decide to enter the NFL draft until after he won the Fiesta Bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
That was kind of what propelled him there. He had that big national platform, winning the Fiesta Bowl, so that kind of pushed him, towards, entering the draft. But, obviously Jacksonville has needed a, star caliber quarterback for quite some time. Blaine Gabbert hasn't quite been the answer for him. Chad Henne definitely hasn't been the answer for him. And drafted Denard Robinson last year, but they don't use him at quarterback unless they're running the read option of the Wildcat. So they, hopefully this will definitely be, what they need. Obviously, Jaguars fans have been clamoring for Tim Tebow for a long time.
Right.
But, I think that if Bortles can improve his arm strength and if he can, be as consistent as he was in college, I definitely think that the Jaguars, have a good thing going there.
I like the picks that the Vikings made last night with getting Teddy Bridgewater and Anthony Barr. Do you think that having those two players could really impact the Vikings? They could be a force to be reckoned with here in the NFC North?
I think they'll definitely be an improved team. Teddy Bridgewater, I know there was a lot of people knocking him based upon his pre-draft workouts, but the thing you have to remember is because the draft was pushed back so late this year, there were so many pre-draft workouts there, so that there wasn't really, there was a lot of margin for error. And I think that's, a lot of people, way too much on, the mistakes that Bridgewater did make. But let's not forget he ran a pro-style offense in college. And, he's proven to be, consistent. Yes, he has overthrown some balls at times, but for the most part, he's been a consistent quarterback. And let's not forget he has Adrian Peterson behind him, so that'll take, some of the pressure off of him. I don't think that Minnesota is going to win the division, but I think it's definitely a step in the right direction.
We're talking with Gabe Salgado here on SportsTownChicago.com. And how good do you think Jadeveon Clowney can be for the Texans? Do you think that he could really change this team up and they could be a good team?
Well, putting him and J.J. Watt together on the same defensive line, will definitely add another dimension to that pass rush. But let's not forget that the Texans still need a quarterback, and there still are some decent quarterbacks available. And, the main thing is that, everybody needs to stay healthy. Aside from, whatever inconsistency they had on offense, they had a lot of injuries last year as well.
How dominant could the Packers be with Clinton Dix And did the Bears miss out by not taking him?
I think the Bears did miss out to some degree. They also missed out by not taking Calvin Pryor as well. But the thing with Kyle Fuller is that they believe he can be converted to safety someday. As for the Packers, they've always had a solid secondary. I think this just makes them better. Putting them out there with Woodson ought to make some things happen. But ultimately at the end of the day, Green Bay, they definitely need to improve their pass rushing. They brought in Julius Peppers. I don't know if he's the answer for that, considering his age and his inconsistency last year. But I definitely think that the Bears did miss out to some degree by not taking him.
Who do you think the Bears should target tonight for the draft, as they'll have another chance to get somebody really good?
I'd love to see them, pick a defensive lineman, preferably either Steven Suet or Lewis Nix. Those guys are still available. I definitely think those guys can contribute right off the bat. Lewis Nix, he dropped, a fair amount of weight, to take the pressure off of his knees, which is why he had the knee problem last year. I know Steven Suet had some injury issues as well, but part of that was because he didn't have Lewis Nix next to him for most of the season. So I definitely think both of those guys can contribute from day one. And you take a look at the Bears' defensive line. Yes, they signed Jared Allen, but considering he's 32 years old, how many good years does he have left in him? Nate Collins is coming off a knee surgery. Stephen Paea is in a contract year, but he's had some injuries. Jeremiah Ratliff hasn't played a full season in a couple of years, so they definitely need some young blood on the defensive line that could definitely improve the pass rush and definitely stop the run. And I think they can get that with either Nix or Tuitt.
And Gabe, here's the big one from the night that the national media could not get enough of. What is your take of Johnny Manziel dropping the 22nd overall and him being taken by the Browns? Could he bring the dog pound back to prominence, or is this just the same thing for Cleveland where they're just bad?
Well, Cleveland already has a bunch of quarterbacks on the roster already, especially when they brought in Vince Young last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. But, it doesn't surprise me that Johnny Manziel fell so far. I honestly thought that he wasn't even going to be taken in the first round since he didn't get taken in the top 10. The thing about Johnny Manziel is, aside from his height, he has a tendency to just, move around too much. And, while he does have the mobility, the thing about it is in the NFL, the pass rushers are bigger, stronger, faster, and with the different types of blitz schemes, he's not going to be able to get away with that. The other thing to take into consideration, too, is that he spent his entire college career in the shotgun. Didn't really take any snaps from underneath center. So that's definitely some things that he's going to have to work on. I've heard, people compare him to Tim Tebow. Some think he's better than Tebow. Some think he's worse than Tebow. While he does have the athletic ability, he does have the arm strength, there's still some fundamentals that he needs to work on. And the major difference between Manziel and Tim Tebow is that Tim Tebow's already a proven winner. He's proven that he can win, the big games. Manziel has yet to prove that.
And before we let you go, where can people find your work online?
Follow me on Twitter at Gabe Salgado82. That's GabeSalgado82. I'm always linking stuff there. You could also follow me on Facebook as well. Just type Gabe Salgado in the search engine on Facebook. You can find me there as well. And another thing, too, before I let you guys go, I definitely want to talk Jimmy Garoppolo because I was actually surprised that I was surprised that he wasn't taken last night.
Yeah, I was too.
The teams that needed quarterbacks, it really surprised me. Now, when Northwestern held their pro day in March, I was there, and they invited some of the other local players that were there as well. And Jimmy Garoppolo is as good as advertised. He's got the accuracy, he's got the arm strength, he's got the quick release, he's a quick decision maker. And, he's the real deal. I know a lot of people are going to, think twice before drafting him because he played at a small school. But, I got to tell you, he's definitely the real deal, and I definitely think that he could help out a team. And I saw that personally. He's definitely, a can't-miss pick. And, there are still some teams that need quarterbacks. And, I would hope that he'll go in the second round tonight.
What team could he join that he would just make an impact on and maybe make them good?
Well, you take a look at, a team like Houston that needs a quarterback, or, take a look at teams that, have aging quarterbacks that, eventually are going to need to, mold for the future. So there's any number of places that he could wind up, but it's definitely somebody that, they should take while they have the chance to get him, especially if they have that need.
Well, Gabe, have a good weekend, my man, and we'd love to have you on the Friday Sports Riot again.
Definitely, and I appreciate you guys for having me, and, hopefully the Bears, will have another top pick tonight.
Yeah, hopefully.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gabe.
All right, thanks, guys.
And that was Gabe Salgado. You can check him out on Twitter. And he also is on Rivet News Radio. So go to your fancy app shop if you have an iPhone or whatever and type in Rivet News Radio and check him out there.
I believe his Twitter handle is Gabe Salgado 82.
That's what I thought it was.
Yes.
I was afraid I was going to say it wrong.
Yeah.
All right, if you want to call the show and talk about everything that Gabe said, it is 630-403-5200. That's 630-403-5200. And who is coming up at 4:30? Super, I'm Rich. Check out my net worth.
At 4:30, we're going to have Travis Rogers, who is heard on Yahoo Sports Radio and KLAA in L.A.
a.k.a. Angels Radio 980.
Yeah.
We will be right back on the Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com. BRB.
The Friday Sports Riot on SportsTownChicago.com.